you're following my channel and you have a plasma TV, you're wondering, should I get the OLED? I'm gonna give you all my thoughts on that. I have a mediocre plasma TV, okay? Let's start with that as a point of reference. This is a 2011 Panasonic plasma TV. The MSRP was like $1,000, okay? So this is not top of the line plasma. The top of the line plasmas, they cost like $3,000 or more, okay? So, and with that in mind, I'm gonna tell you how amazing I think the plasma TV is, and what is the reason, why would you buy this OLED TVs? 4K HDR, to make it simple. 4K HDR. That's the reason. So, how amazing is 4K HDR? It's incredible. It's awesome. But this is what's gonna happen to you. You're gonna get this OLED. You're gonna turn on HDR 4K goodness. It's going to look awesome, amazing. But then you're going to see an object moving left to right, and it's gonna look like this. It's gonna look awful, and you're going to start missing out that motion resolution, okay? So the OLED has motion interpolation and black frame insertion to prevent that. Some OLEDs, they combine those two together, which I don't like. If you give me the option to use both at the same time, that's awesome. But there are some OLEDs that they force you, that you have to use both at the same time. I don't like that. So motion interpolation works very good for me. I use cinematic movement on this LG C1, and that's the minimum amount of motion interpolation for movies, and I like it a lot. But it does have some, it's not perfect. When you see an object moving, like a panning shot, basically, the panning shots on the OLED are awful. Well, 24 frames in general for a panning shot, that's awful anyway. But you are not going to get a better panning shot on a movie with this OLED in comparison with your plasma. No way. So you are going to start missing out the inherent, qualities and things that are inherent to that plasma technology, which is basically beautiful colors, just no matter what. Amazing colors on SDR and that amazing motion resolution. So what's gonna happen to you is basically you are going to love the picture quality on HDR, the 4K, but if you are like me, you're gonna be frustrated with the direction the industry is going. Because if I was the person, if there is no person who decides, there's no one person who decides the direction of the industry and hey, yeah, this is the technology we're going to develop or not. But if I was that person, I would tell the engineers, hey, this OLED thing you just created, it's amazing, but I am not willing to take that sample and hold blurriness, no matter what, no matter how good the picture quality is. Sorry, you have to invent something different. I don't care that this is looking awesome. You have to give me this awesomeness. I like it, but give me that with perfect motion resolution, like my plasma, okay? So for me, the plasma was the right move, okay? So we have a CRT that looks even better in movement, but I definitely understand it's a gigantic TV, super heavy. So if the engineers come to me and they tell me, hey, we invent this technology that is going to be thin, a lot thinner in comparison, it's gonna be bigger, so we can have a bigger screen size, and it's going to still have a great motion. It's not gonna be as good. We cannot do more than 60 hertz, but it's a good sacrifice. I'm okay with that. So it has a lot of advantages. It's not better in every single area, but it does have a better picture quality, and it's a bigger size. So that's okay. I can take that downgrade in motion. But if you come after that to me and tell me, no, we're developing this LCD technology, it's a blurry mess. No. Well, if you tell me, well, it's gonna be dirt cheap, okay, I would say, okay, it's gonna be very cheap. It doesn't use a lot of power. It can be thinner and bigger. That's okay. You can do it. But it's crazy to sacrifice the qualities of that plasma TV to achieve this. And the reason why I am playing this is the Unreal Engine 5 demo. The reason why I am playing this is because it's the same idea. This is a demo. This is the Matrix demo, the Unreal Engine 5 engine. It looks great. It looks amazing. But I am not willing to take this crappy performance to achieve this visual fidelity. I am not okay with that. So if you come to me and you tell me, hey, we developed this engine, it looks absolutely beautiful, but even with a $500-600 CPU, and even with a $1,000 GPU, you cannot get 60 frames, okay? So this is 42, 43 frames, and it goes down to 32, 29 frames. That's unacceptable. That is unacceptable. So it's the same idea. You are giving me 4K, HDR, it looks awesome. But if you are sacrificing so much motion resolution, I am not okay with that. Sorry, that's a good idea. Keep working on it, but invent something different, because for gaming, especially, motion resolution is the most important thing, because you're moving the camera all the time. So for people who have never experienced anything different, they just have an LCD screen all their life, then they get this OLED. Wow, so much better, perfect blacks, infinite contrast, HDR. It is a great upgrade. But if you've ever seen a plasma or a CRT, you move the camera here. This is trash. And it's even worse when you are coming from 4K resolution down to 300p. Okay, so that's awful. So all that amazingness, all that 4K HDR goodness goes down the toilet when you move the camera. Okay, so now the engineers tell me, hey, we are aware of that. We invented some features, to resolve that problem. We invented motion interpolation. So how good is that? Motion interpolation creates frames that don't exist. How good is that? It's very good, actually, but it's not perfect. It is not perfect. It's definitely not better than the motion resolution you get with the plasma, and it has motion interpolation artifacts. So it's frames keeping. Like, for example, you see the car, like something panning on, like an object going on the screen like this, and it looks fluid, but then it does this because it has like I think that is called soap opera effect. I'm not sure, but it's like frames keeping. It does this. Something like, instead of doing this, if you don't have motion interpolation, it would do this. If you engage that motion interpolation, it will look like this, but it would do this. So it's not perfect. But then the engineers tell me, oh, but actually, we have Motion Pro. At 120, it gives you perfect motion resolution, even better than the plasma. But, the highlights, that HDR goodness goes down the toilet again trying, because it's basically turning off the pixels and scrolling that, so strobing the image, so basically you can get that perceived motion resolution. So I would say, okay, so we are back to square one. All that HDR goodness that you are providing, you cannot enjoy it if you use black frame insertion, because the highlights are they're just not there. So at the end, it is a better technology, okay? It is a better TV. It is superior in many things. 120 frames black frame insertion, it gives you a better motion resolution, but it is too dim. It is too dim. The only way to get it with a proper level of brightness, in my experience, is if you get HLG dynamic tone mapping on, or in some HDR games that have the levels raised, you can use dynamic tone mapping, and it might work. But it's not ideal. It's not ideal. So what would happen to you if you if you get this OLED? You're going to love it. Okay, it looks amazing. You're going to love it. It has a lot of things that are superior. 4K is amazing. HDR is amazing. But you're going to be in a situation that, in order for you to enjoy that awesomeness, you will have to sacrifice the motion resolution, and you're going to miss that, I promise you. And you're going to be like me, basically wondering why is this the direction we're going? Why is nano, micro, or LED, why is that the end game technology? I hate whenever I see somebody who knows, I don't want to mention names, but I hate to hear this is the end game technology. So after we achieve that, basically we have nothing else to do. Like, that's the perfect TV. No, I disagree, because those super expensive micro or nano LED TVs, basically we're talking about each pixel is an LED. Those TVs are extremely expensive. The picture quality is unbelievable, but sample and hold blurriness, okay? So it's still crap. When you move the camera, it's still crap. If I am the boss, if I am the person who decides the direction that the industry is going, I would have to say, no, don't spend all that energy, all that money to try to achieve that the maximum picture quality if you cannot get the motion resolution, especially for gaming. So picture quality and motion resolution, they have to go together, and the industry is completely forgetting about it. Even LG with the new OLEDs, I mean, not only LG, all the new OLEDs, even these QD OLEDs, they are downgrading the black frame insertion. Now it's only 60 Hertz. So it's like not even a thing. Of course, nobody uses it because you're buying this to get HDR. So if you turn that on and you kill the highlights, you cannot enjoy HDR anyway. So how can you get HDR, motion resolution, the best input lag, all together? A completely different technology. That's an impulse technology. If the plasma cannot do it, they have to invent something different. And I'm sure they know. But this is all about profit. That's it. The plasma TV, for example, is very expensive to manufacture. That thing has gold inside. I have people, I resell like two plasma TVs, and I have one person who came to get them for very cheap. And what he does is basically he takes out the gold that the TV have inside. So that thing has precious metals inside. It's super heavy, super expensive to manufacture. So it's not profitable. That's it. That's all we're doing here. It's all about profit. I'm sure these companies know. They know, but they all care about profit. And especially these NVIDIA and all the computing power required to push 120 or 240 hertz is crazy. So that's what they want. They want that in order for you to get that motion resolution and that quality and that responsiveness, you need to spend $5,000, okay? And that's nonsense, because 60 frames, okay, 60 hertz on the plasma TV in movement, you do this, looks better than 120 hertz on the OLED. 100%. Try it yourself. If you have an OLED, turn on black frame insertion at 60 hertz, okay? And go to this website, UFO, and do a UFO test. At 60 hertz black frame insertion, look at that object moving on the screen, okay? And then turn off black frame insertion, change the refresh rate of the display to 120, and open again that UFO test. Sample and hold 120 looks blurrier than 60 black frame insertion. So what that tells me is that trying to achieve 120 is a waste of computing power. Why? Because your eyes do not appreciate that motion resolution on sample and hold. So why are we trying to push that frame rate? To get a better input lag? Well, to get a better input lag, you are better off with an impulse display like a CRT. Like a CRT, 60 hertz, you do this, and it feels, there's no lag. It's perfectly responsive. So what we have to do is not to try to push 240 or 500 hertz. That's crazy. What we have to do is to invent a different technology that's not sample and hold. Sample and hold needs to die, basically. So yeah, I'm gonna stop ranting. My advice, if you have a plasma TV, do you want to try 4K HDR? You have the money, go for it. It's amazing, okay? But you're going to miss that motion resolution big time, especially for everything. I mean, not only for gaming, for everything. But try it and see it for yourself. Again, 4K 120 black frame insertion with the HLG trick and dynamic tone mapping on is perfect in some cases. It's absolutely perfect. And it is a better motion resolution than the plasma TV. And it does give you the same and even more average picture level. But that's not something I can achieve on every single game, especially not at max settings of 4K, okay? So if you're not getting 4K anyway, it's a waste of computing power. Like, all the computing power required to get that level of performance it shouldn't be necessary. So yeah, if you have the money, buy it. If not, don't wait for QD OLED to be cheaper or this micro LED to be cheaper. Get it now. Get it now. Of course, QD OLED is better. It's more expensive too. You can get that, but they don't have the black frame insertion at 120. So the LG C1, as far as I know, is the latest and the best TV you can get for 4K 120 black frame insertion so far. But it is what it is. It is what it is. It's a tough upgrade, basically. If you have one of those great plasma TVs, it is a tough upgrade. But if you have the money, get it, try it, see it for yourself. You can always return it if you don't think it's good enough. I was about to return my C1. If I don't find that HLG trick, I was returning it because I was so unhappy with the colors on SDR. Trash. I've showed that on this channel. You can watch that Red Dead Redemption video I made. The colors on SDR is not even close. The plasma is better. And don't tell me, oh, you need to calibrate your TV. I would pay $2,000 to a professional calibrator if they are able. If somebody tells me, I am sure I can make SDR on this OLED TV look better than the plasma TV that you have, I would pay them $2,000. It's a bet, basically. I am sure you cannot. Okay? You cannot. It's not possible because that white point, that warmness of the image, it's not possible. You can oversaturate the colors. That's not gonna make it better than the plasma. So yes, man, I feel so strong so strongly about this, because I was really frustrated with this OLED TV, because it is better, it is superior, but the plasma is so amazing that, and I paid $25 for the plasma. So that's another video. $25, $1,000 for this thing. So yeah, it's what it is. Let me know if you have any questions.